Good morning and welcome to TVNPA's conversation with the Tri-Valley mayors. As we get started, please enter your name and organization in the chat so we can see who's in the room. I'd like to start by saying thank you to all of our mayors who agreed to sit down and talk with us this morning. Your support to our nonprofit, your support helps our nonprofit community thrive. So thank you again. Today actually marks the 8-year anniversary of TVNPA. It's been a great ride, and I would like to thank everyone who has helped support us throughout the years. But we're just getting started. If you haven't heard, TVNPA started a nonprofit co-working space in Livermore, and we're in the process of signing up tenants. Let's see, we have a great conference room, a big kitchen, offices, dedicated cubicles, shared working spaces, and virtual offices available. And if you're wondering what a virtual office is, it's basically a physical address where you can have mail and packages sent, and plus have a physical address for your nonprofit if you don't already have one. I'm really excited about this because all of TVNPA's legal and banking documents are at my home address. And so I'm looking forward to having us be more official. Please reach out to me if you would like any further information or to tour the space. You can email me at kathy@tvnpa.org. And also, in partnership with Chef, we have relaunched the Tri-Valley Nonprofit Fund. We're in the process of selecting our first quarter grant recipients, and those decisions will be made next week. The second grant cycle will open on April 1st. This fund is being supported by Chef, local businesses, and philanthropists with community matching funds. Right now, you can make a donation and have your gift matched by 150%. Carol, can you please put that link into the chat in case people are feeling really generous right now? We would love your support. And speaking of that, I'd like to thank everyone who made a donation when registering for this event. Your donations help us to continue to provide these great programs. And I'd also like to thank our sponsor for today, Lawrence Livermore National Security, for the generous sponsorship of today's program. Lawrence Livermore National Lab is operated by Lawrence Livermore National Security for the Department of Energy's National Nuclear Security Administration. Lawrence Livermore National Security is a limited liability company that assumed management of the Lawrence Livermore National Laboratory on October 1st, 2007. We are grateful for their support, as well as the support they provide to all of the nonprofits throughout our communities. Now, I'm going to introduce Carolyn Siegfried, who will serve as a moderator today. But first, I'd like to take a minute and tell you a little bit about Carolyn's involvement with TVNPA. Carolyn is the executive director of the Pedrosi Foundation. She attended the first meeting of TVNPA in March 2014 and was instrumental in launching our organization. She has served as a founding board member, treasurer, and now board chair. Carolyn helped shape TVNPA and is an incredible leader. Her board term is now ending. I mean, board terms are important, but they're also very sad. and so she's rotating off, which is a big loss for us. But we're incredibly grateful for her service. And I really wanted to thank her publicly for everything she's put into TVNPA in our communities. So let's give her a virtual round of applause. Yay. Thank you, Carolyn. Thank you very much.
I am Carla Brown, Mayor of Pleasanton. I'm calling you from beautiful downtown Pleasanton here on Main Street. And it's an honor to be here. I can't wait to learn more about what our other cities are doing for their nonprofits, but I'm really excited to share all that Pleasanton is doing as well. So I was elected in 2020 to be Pleasanton's mayor after serving 8 years as city council. Thanks.
Thank you, Carla. How about Melissa? You know she's here.
Good morning, everyone. It's great to be here. I believe this is our second year that we've done this. So thank you for having us back. And thank you for all the hard work that TVNP has done for our community. And also Carolyn, thank you so much for putting all your hard work and dedication into this nonprofit. And I know that we couldn't do it without people that really care about and love their job. So thank you. And again, I am Mayor Melissa Hernandez from the city of Dublin. And I've always been an avid volunteer, and I always truly believe in all of our nonprofits. You know, I started my my leadership role by being on nonprofits. For example, even just as a nonprofit, the Dublin Little League, that was one of, and I also just being a PFSL mom for many years and giving back to our community and schools. So I know exactly where you are all coming from. And I know it's always difficult to keep fundraising, but we know that we always need them. We always need money to be able to get our name out there. So I truly am honored to be here. And I actually was also elected in 2020 and felt that our city did a great job on pivoting, on coming forward with the COVID that we did not expect, and making sure that we had a great relationship with our nonprofit organizations, because it truly is the nonprofit organizations that helped us during these very difficult times.
Thank you, Melissa. We're glad you're here, Mayor. And Bob Warner?
Good morning, everyone. I'm Bob Warner, Mayor of Livermore. I'm a longtime Livermore resident, been here 46 years or so, came to work in the laser fusion program and have stayed ever since. This is my 11th year on the city council and second as mayor. As like the other two, was elected in 2020. That's the same year I retired. I'll just say I really find this to be a great place to live. I grew up as an Army brat, moved everywhere, but I have no intention of leaving this place. And the nonprofits are key to the really good quality of life we have here.
Thank you. I'm grateful you're here. Do we have another mayor on here? I can't tell who's been kicked off and who hasn't. San Ramon or Danville?
Danville Mayor Arnerich.
Great. Can you take a second and introduce yourself?
Oh, I said like, are we waiting for Mayor Danville Mayor?
Yes. So go ahead. Why don't you introduce yourself?
Did you say Ronnie?
No,
I would like
Oh, okay.
the vice mayor to introduce himself.
Very good.
Thanks, Kathy. Good morning, everyone. I'm Sridhar Veros, Vice Mayor, City of San Ramon. Thank you, Carolyn and Tri-Valley Nonprofit Alliance for having me. I see all fantastic women on this call. Wish you all happy International Women's Month. It is certainly a privilege for me to be on this panel with all honorable mayors of Tri-Valley cities. About me, I'm a San Ramon resident for the past 16 years, living with my wife. She's a pharmacist in our local Tri-Valley retail pharmacy store. We have 2 young kids, both go to San Ramon public schools. Regarding my education, I'm from San Jose State University with my master's in engineering in software engineering. In my professional life is I work at OpenText Corporation. I manage a global cloud operations team. And about my community services, I've been involved in community services for the last 13 years, which includes as a commissioner for San Ramon Parks and Community Services Commissioner from 2016 to 2020. I'm proud to say that my involvement in community services started in 2008 by founding a sports nonprofit organization, San Ramon Cricket Association. Also, I'm founding member and steering committee member of San Ramon Valley Diversity Coalition, and member and founding member of many other Tri-Valley community nonprofit organizations. So with all this experience with nonprofits, I just feel like this is my platform. So once again, thank you very much for having me.
Thank you for being here. Thank you. And thank you everyone for your patience as we get started. Do we have the Danville mayor here yet?
No.
Okay, so until we get those glitches worked out, I'm going to continue on with the program. So I'm going to go ahead and go back to Carla Brown and Mayor Carla Brown and ask her the question. What do you see as the role of nonprofits in your city?
Sure, Kathy, thank you. I'm especially proud of the nonprofits here within the entire Tri-Valley, but of course, especially Pleasanton. Nonprofits, as we know, are key partners that work in conjunction with our city and our city government. The city has primarily partnered with nonprofits, providing things like crisis intervention, as we're familiar, food insecurity, shelters, housing, and a big one, which I'm sure we'll talk about later, which is mental support and physical health. So we are very proud that many of our nonprofits are co-located, so have another location within our Pleasanton Senior Center. And here are a few of them. So if we see Carrie Oles on, she's probably out delivering food, but Spectrum Community Services Meals on Wheels is one of the locations of these nonprofits that are within our senior center. I'm looking forward to delivering food with Carrie later this month. Open Heart Kitchen, as we know, they provide senior meals Monday through Friday at our senior center. We also have Senior Support Program, which it does case management for fall prevention, for example. And another really critical nonprofit here in the Tri-Valley is City Serve of the Tri-Valley. They have that co-location at our senior center, and they offer rental and utility assistance, and most importantly, support for those that are home insecure or homeless. And also, our Pleasanton Library serves as a location for veterans, mobile assistant outreach, and City Serve pop-up outreach. So right here in our Pleasanton libraries. So these nonprofits, along with so many others that are here today represented, I see so many familiar faces, so hello everyone, are often letting us know what are the emerging trends, what are the problems that they're seeing in the community, and what the city in conjunction with those nonprofits need to start working on. And I'm very proud over the last 2 years, especially with this COVID pandemic, the city has granted $2.6 million in support of our local nonprofits. So something really to be proud of.
Thank you, Mayor Brown. And Mayor Hernandez, same question. What do you see
Sure.
as the role?
Thank you, Kathy. Yes, as Mayor Carla Brown, listed all those great nonprofit organizations. It's great to be able to work with all of them. And our local nonprofits are truly the direct service, for they're really truly the service providers here for our entire Tri-Valley and our community. So they're the frontline workers bringing services directly to our residents, from, like she said, Meals on Wheels, Access Community Health, which has extremely grown in the last couple of years with services. And then also, Open Heart Kitchen, also doing our senior lunches and making sure that our seniors are taken care of. And then also a newly person that came about last year, which is One Nation Dream Makers, which is doing that last mile. And I think that's really important because of the fact that there may be people that do not have enough money for gas. There may be seniors that do not drive and cannot get to from A to B, and to being able to get those services, being able to get food to them is extremely important. But us as a community trying to, with Alameda County to create a food hub where we were able to distribute groceries for individuals. Having that collaboration is so important. And I honestly give kudos to all the nonprofits that while everyone, was working from home, they were still out and about working and communicating and trying to get what we needed for the people in need.
Thank you so much. And Mayor Warner.
Okay, well, what I would like to focus in on is that, cities, like Livermore and our other surrounding cities, we can provide the services like police, fire, library, transportation infrastructure, public utilities. But, governments and commercial enterprises really can't do everything. They don't have the sufficient resources or the needed capabilities.
Mm-hmm.
And nonprofits with their various, really passionate pursuit of their various goals are, a key to our high quality of life. And they play a critical role, as we just heard, in delivering various services not typically provided by the local government. And, if you just look at the membership of this group, and just in general, nonprofits play critical roles in sectors of arts and culture, business advocacy, education, health and human services, as we heard a lot about, and the environment. And I would say and Tri-Valley is somewhat unique in the sense that many of our nonprofits are homegrown. And so that each of our cities, have long-standing relationships and partnerships with the nonprofit community. And as we continue to build upon those partnerships to increase the quantity and quality of services delivered to the community. And we couldn't do what we're doing, just as a government, and the nonprofits are essential. The ones that I would mention, we've heard some, but in the categories of the food delivery and mental health, medical services, case management, homeless services, and these human services is just one example. And there are countless others. And I say, just look at the membership. The other sort of end of the spectrum, we also have the homegrown conservancy for managing the conservation easements, that are vital to the open spaces. So it's an incredible scope that all the nonprofits cover, and they're just, essential to our quality of life.
Thank you. And then Mayor Veros, Vice Mayor.
Thank you. I strongly believe that profit organizations play a vital role in improving quality of life for all our residents. We are blessed with so many nonprofit organizations within Tri-Valley community, helping in enriching our adult youth. I see that they are supporting our residents at every walk of life. If you see, one of the top priority that we are working now is mental health. That's like, for example, Discovery Counseling and many other nonprofit organizations driven by students, especially they are coming from college and high school student organizations. It is great to see them stepping up and helping our community. And also, if you go to the next one, is about community culture development and arts development. As you see, San Ramon is now became pretty much like a hub for diverse cultural activities, especially with the strong San Ramon Arts Foundation, Inner Eye Arts Foundation, Namaha Foundation, Social Justice Collective. I can name like many of them who are helping and working with us, collaborating with our city on education and youth enrichment programs by our San Ramon Valley Education Foundation. If you see our adult and youth sports organizations like soccer, San Ramon FC, San Ramon Little League, baseball, San Ramon Cricket Association, lacrosse teams, all these groups, they are helping, bringing youth out of their electronics and making them to be physical, keeping their health. And one more important thing I would like to mention is about our San Ramon Diversity, Inclusion and Equity programs that are run by our San Ramon Valley Diversity Coalition. We do have panel conversations and discussions, especially around how we can bring our community members to have a safe place where they can air out their opinions about community. And also, I'm proud to say that we have women empowerment and domestic violence, who are helping with domestic violence issues like Rewire Community. And when it comes to veteran assistance, we have Blue Star Mothers, Sentinels of Freedom. I know I can just continuously keep naming from within Tri-Valley and San Ramon who are helping us in making this all these services happen within community and making our quality of life better. So it's we as a city continuously providing support, especially with the collaboration, and wherever there is a logistical support, we are always there stepping up and working with them.
So thank you. And thank you to all of you who really highlighted the vast array of nonprofits that serve our area, because it's everything from direct services to Little League to our land, all of it. They're just the critical role in our communities. And yeah, I'm always say, don't put a nickel in me and get me started, because I'll start telling you about all of them. So I'm glad that you guys covered many of those different areas. And so the next question, I'm going to see if one of you wants to step up and answer first, just so that, someone else won't take your answer. But otherwise I'll go through again. But the next question is, how can we work with you to create stronger communities and help you achieve your vision for the city? Okay, Bob Warner.
Yeah, I'll try that. I think the real key here is communication and understanding of what the needs are. As you can see, the cities can help in some areas, but not all areas. And each of us go through our own goals and priorities and, trying to figure out what's important for the community. And the best thing we can do is understand what the community needs and try and help where the priorities are. And that the critical role through the Nonprofit Alliance is helping us understand where we need to focus our resources. So it's really about informing the community and informing the councils so that then we can work with our staffs to get things done. So I think that's where I would point it out. It's really, let's inform each other of what's important, and then we can figure out how to put the right resources to the problem.
Great, thank you very much for that. Also, if you have any questions that you'd like to ask, we're going to do Q&A, live Q&A at the end. But if you want to enter them in chat now, our board member, Marty Sutton, will be fielding those questions. So feel free to do that. And does anyone else want to answer this question next?
I'll go ahead and go next. I truly feel that, honestly, it's our job to create awareness of the work that our nonprofits do by promoting individuals' efforts of these nonprofits, but also through outreach, we can connect those. And just like what Mayor Warner was saying is, for us to be able to work together and connect, it's greatly needed for our nonprofit community. But we must also, because I think this is very important, and I know that all of us have so many fundraisers, but we also need to ensure that there is sustainable, to make sure there's sustainable funding coming in and needed to be able to fulfill all the missions of all the nonprofit organizations. Because without money, it's hard for the nonprofits to keep, moving forward and to be able to help and sustain what they already have, to be able to provide services to those in need, and just overall to the community as a whole in the Tri-Valley.
Thank you. Mayor Brown.
Yes. First of all, thank you, TVNPA, for all your services supporting our community nonprofit organizations. I really like the statement that you posted on your website, especially providing, I'll just read out that, especially I really liked it, like providing local nonprofit organizations with opportunities to meet, collaborate, share resources, and strengthen. This is really the one which we really need to focus and bring awareness within the nonprofit organizations, that there is organization like TVNPA, or there is we as a city representatives, we are there to help them, support them where they can lean on us for the needs that they have. Because as Mayor Hernandez mentioned, that pretty much all of these nonprofit organizations look for two things. One is the support with raising funds, and then support with reaching out, community outreach, right, for their programs to share within the community. And when they do that, I see myself as a facilitator sitting in between all of these organizations and providing a network connectivity. But it will be great to have something like someone like TVNPA, where you can provide these collaboration and allowing them to share the resources. That will definitely help them to strengthen. So that's where I think, as city representatives, us and TVNPA, where we can work with these nonprofit organizations and build better and strong nonprofit organizations in our community.
Thank you so much, Mayor Brown.
Yeah, thank you. I'm going to go just slightly a different direction. Everything that was spoken is absolutely true. It's awareness that you exist, awareness that we want to help you. And even I know many of the mayors, but I'll say myself at this time, have volunteered for nonprofits and had a wonderful time learning more about it, posting it on Facebook, making more awareness, and having people ask more about that particular organization that I'm highlighting at that time. So reach out to us if you need some publicity, maybe you need a helping hand. But I wondered, and this is really just, I'm going to throw out an idea if you're open for it. I get asked on a regular basis, how can I help? And some people have a weekend to help. Some people have a day, a week to help. And they're just truly trying to find out how they can fit in to this wonderful nonprofit organization. So I'm going to ask that you consider somehow posting positions that are open or working with the cities to do background checks to get a list of volunteers that have the time. And we all know sometimes you have an afternoon, sometimes you have a week. But what I hear so many times, I mean, once a week is, how can I help? And yes, cities are filled with some committee commissions positions, but we're really not a volunteer nonprofit. We are a city government. So what I need to do is connect these people that want to help to the organizations who need them. And if you can help facilitate that, I think we can give you more than just money, which we're happy to do, but I want to give you volunteers that can help, because I know that doing a nonprofit is endless hours, lots of responsibility. By the time you're done volunteering, then you're going to do the books in the evening. So if you need volunteers, let's work together and see if we can't come up with a process that is a volunteer list, publicize it, vet these volunteers to make sure they're going to show up and that they have a background. Maybe the city can help do some background checks, and you can get a list of volunteers. You can send out the notice, hey, we're doing food packing, we're doing food driving, and these regular Tuesday drivers just need a break every once in a while. Can you fill in once in a while and help? Just think about, how can I help you connect these wonderful volunteers in my community to the positions that you need help with? And I'd like to work with you on it.
That's great. So, and I do want to let you know, and we've been trying to get this off the ground and we've been struggling a little bit with it. So since we have an audience here, there is a place, if you go to our website and you look under opportunities, and there's a place for nonprofit organizations to post their volunteer needs. And then what we can do is create that database for the volunteers as well. So definitely that's something that we can help you with. And we do have that place on our page.
If I could just push it out to us, out to us, because I'm not going to dig through your webpage but once a year, right? But if you can do a push list, I think you'll find that you're going to get a better response. Okay.
No, that's great. What we need is the people that are nonprofits. And so while we have them here to go online and to put what their volunteer needs are so that we can push it out. And so nonprofits, if you hear me, please do that. And then we'll work to try to we'll work with you on that for sure. Okay, thank you. And we'll move on to our next question. And this is like, what do you see your role interacting with the nonprofits, and how do you want to be approached by leaders in your nonprofit community? So we know that it might be tough for you to respond to all emails or phone calls or setting up meetings. So what is the best way for you to be able to respond to nonprofits who would like to be able to have a conversation with you? And Mayor Brown, since you're there.
Sure. Oh, my email, kbrown@cityofpleasantonca.gov. Send out, I'll say Spectrum, Meals on Wheels reached out to me, Carrie Olds, and said, hey, would you like to deliver food? I try to do it at least once a year, if not more. We partnered together. She came with me. We knocked on doors for food delivery and said, hey, I'm your mayor and I'm here to help check in on you and make sure how you're doing. The same is true for Impact Food for Culinary Angels. I've been a volunteer for Tri-Valley Conservancy. Reach out and say, hey, do you have a day next week, next month that you can come see our operations? I've had a chance to do some tours of nonprofits here in the Tri-Valley, but actually use me. I had a wonderful time and I learned so much. So yeah, reach out. Let's do it.
Thank you. How about Mayor Hernandez?
Sure. I think many of you have my phone number already. I think texting is probably the easiest, or email. But I do want to bring the fact that, as our nonprofit organizations are the subject matter experts, they know best. So whether it's in homeless, domestic violence, food insecurity, or crisis intervention, as I mentioned earlier, they are the front line of our everyday community and their needs. So as city leaders, we act as in professional capacity, working in concert with our nonprofits to ensure. So for me, it's more of making sure that your mission is fulfilled, making sure that myself or even our city staff is able to be there. I know that I also sat on the Human Services Commission before I became mayor. So those grants are really important. So for us is to make sure there's awareness of the city grants that are being provided by all the cities, to make sure that the nonprofits are able to get on the list for us to be able to promote and give those nonprofit. And I know that our city of Dublin already sends out texts. So if you haven't already, please go on our website, sign up to be on our text distribution, sign up to be on our email distribution, because that's how we can get a hold of our nonprofits, because there are so many that we can't call, all of them all the time. But it's to be able to have that collaboration with the nonprofits and work with them as well and continuing the services and resources. I know that we connect with 211. We connect with so many nonprofits, but also I have two roles, as many of you may know, is working for District 1. So not only am I always being conscientious about the city of Dublin, but I'm also at the Alameda County side being conscientious about Dublin and Pleasanton, Fremont and Dublin. So because that is our district. But so I kind of have a little bit of an advantage, and I know people know where to find me.
Thank you. Vice Mayor?
Yes, absolutely. Please reach out to me. My email address is sveros. I'll post it even on the chat pretty soon. So sveros@sanramon.ca.gov. And the best way to reach out to me for quick response is WhatsApp. I use WhatsApp. If you're familiar with WhatsApp application on smartphones, you can use that, or you can text me. I'll post my phone number also, that is available online anyway. So you can always reach out to me. I always think myself as a facilitator, or the person who can connect with and also who can support and help. Because as myself, a founder of a nonprofit organization and also member of many nonprofit organizations, I know the challenges that all these nonprofit organizations go through at every juncture. Like when they want to perform an event, like one example I mentioned, right? When they want to perform an event, that one piece is a major piece, but then it is once again connected for funds. It is again connected to the community outreach, all those pieces. So what I suggest is nonprofit organizations, you focus on your event. You focus on what is the product that you are working on, and leave the community outreach and also getting funds. You should work with your city as well as with your local non-profit organizations who can support you and help you with this. So always feel free to contact me. I'm always available to help.
Thank you. And Mayor Warner?
Yeah, I would add to what was already said, is that the key here is the conversations, because through those interactions, ideas come about that otherwise we wouldn't have thought of, and so it is necessary to reach out to the mayors. But I would want to point out that we're only 5 on the councils, and all of our fellow council members are just as informed as we are, really, about what's going on, and in a lot of cases even more so, because they might even be more active in the nonprofit community. So I would say reach out to everyone on the council and engage in the conversations. Say what's on your mind, what's important, and then things will come from that, I think, as we've heard. So that is where I would say is the key here. And as far as how to reach me, I like phones, so you can But the easiest thing to do is just send me an email and with a request and with your phone number, and then I'll call you back. And as soon as I get a chance, or if, frankly, if you call me, if I can answer, I will. But otherwise, I try and get back in a reasonable time and have the conversation, because live conversations are, and they're, more lively in terms of what you can come up with, and a better understanding of what the true need is. And it's not just a need. I mean, people can have ideas and they want advice as to how to make them happen. So we can provide that as well. But reach out to all of us on the councils.
That's
I
great.
just want to chip in one quick one. I totally agree with the Mayor Warner, especially reaching out to all council members, because everyone have their network as well as their ability to help. So yeah, please don't hesitate. I'm sure all of them are in today public office so that they can support and serve the community. So don't hesitate.
So now I'm going to let you interact with each other for this question. So you feel free to jump in and have a dialogue here if you'd like. And this is going to be how do you collaborate with each other, and how do you lean on each other? How do you work all together? So I'll let you discuss that with each other, and we'll see how well that goes.
I know that in Dublin, Pleasanton, Livermore, I know that we have the advantage because I do work closely with Mayor Warner in the city of Livermore, and also Mayor Brown. And I know that I speak to Mayor Newell Arnich on kind of regular basis before I even actually became mayor. And so we've just had a long-term relationship. And I know Hudson and I sit on some transportation committees, so we do work together in that entity. And we were able to collaborate and go together to DC earlier in January. But I think for the most part, our staff also works together. And I think that's extremely important, is to be able to have the staff collaborating behind the scenes and bring the information forward to us. But I think overall, even as council members and mayors, that we all have a good relationship throughout the Tri-Valley.
So real quick, Mayor Newell Arnich is on the telephone. So he is on this call. So if you would like to jump into this conversation, please do. And I apologize for the confusion and upfront, but we would love to hear from you as well. Right, go ahead and finish your dialogue, please, everybody.
So Newell, if he's not going to jump in, I can add to what Melissa just said.
Please do.
Yeah, I think the key here is that, you noted that the three of us, Melissa and Carla and I, we all got elected to mayors at the same time. So we kind of can commiserate a lot about what we got ourselves into. But we've also worked with each other for years on other boards and commissions. And so that's helped. And with the 5 cities, we have joint legislative agendas and meetings of the councils. And so there are established working relationships in various advocacy venues. And it's those relationships that allow us to very freely talk to one another. And I guess the thing that I would say is, we're just ordinary people, and everyone on this call, feel free to reach out to us on various things, because that's really the key. So we collaborate through official venues, but we also have lots of conversations asking each other for advice and thoughts on various issues.
This is Newell Arnich. Can you guys hear me now?
Yes.
Yes, we can.
Wow, Melissa, I heard you say how we talk so much. For 45 minutes, you guys have blocked me off this call. My feelings are hurt. But anyway, I wish I could have been on the other 45 minutes, but I was permanently blocked. I even opened a new account, but it's my name that's, you guys blocked me. One of the ways that we actually, in the Tri-Valley, we were one of the first 2 counties in the state of California to cross political lines and county boundaries. And this goes back about 27 years ago. And what we did was formed Tri-Valley Transportation Council, our Tri-Valley Council. And as time went on, we went to the point of actually doing lobbying together, hiring a joint lobbyist. And it brought us to the point where we realized that we have so many things that we have in common, but yet at the same time, we really complement each other in terms of the assets, the aspirations of each of our own communities. You know, for example, in Danville, we're a residential leisure services versus really the other four have larger businesses and things like that. We have more software companies that start here than any place in the entire San Francisco Bay Area, but they always leave and go to one of the other four cities in the Tri-Valley. So the commonality of how we do talk, we do those things together. And each time one of us as a new mayor appears, we kind of go through the process to get to know each other. But not only through the mayors, as Mayor Bob Warner said, that our council members too, through our Tri-Valley Council, the idea is that we all network together to be able to find out, and we all serve on different subcommittees and regional committees, which are probably some of the most important things we do to help advocate for something in Pleasanton, even though we're in Danville, or vice versa. And I think we are very, very unique as 5 major metropolitan areas. That's just under 400,000 people in population, that we do find a shared value and a shared common cause. And truthfully, our residents, our employees, we all live and work each other's backyards. So I think it's exciting. And also to have, you know, trying now, what I see is really one of the first big public attempts to get the nonprofit world in the same way, to find out that we can, as a variety of entities, complement each other and work together for common causes.
Thank you. And thank you for your persistence in getting into this meeting here. Very much appreciate it.
I think one thing that is common for our Tri-Valley cities is Tri-Valley City Council. I had recently an experience to attend one of the events where we could able to meet our Tri-Valley City Council members as well as the staff from different departments. It's definitely a place for collaboration and work together. I'm sure if Mayor Hudson, our San Ramon Mayor Hudson, would have joined, he would have shared much more about the collaboration that he works on our transportation, Tri-Valley transportation, and ABAG, all those committees that he served across the Bay Area. So from my perspective, definitely the Tri-Valley Cities Council that helped me to meet and work with the mayors, city council members, and different staff departments. Except for Mayor Warner, I think I pretty much work with all other mayors on this call. So they are very approachable, very open. I really appreciate their leadership. So it's same, I'm sure, for all our nonprofit organizations. I'm sure they welcome, and I'll definitely welcome anytime. If you want to make me learn new things, I'm always there to learn and help implementing those.
I'm definitely going to reach out. No, go ahead.
Yeah, absolutely do. I'm just going to reinforce that you don't necessarily, the public doesn't necessarily know, but we meet in all these subgroup meetings, like Tri-Valley Transportation was mentioned, Alameda County Transportation, Alameda County Mayors. We had a meeting last night. There are so many ways that we're connecting, but also maybe there are varying degrees. But if you're running for political office, you're usually an outgoing person and you're pretty approachable. So when we're offering our email addresses or our phone numbers, it's because we're sincere. We are not folks that stay home and try to run a city council and city government and the influence that we have in our community from a closed office. We're out in the community. That's one of the reasons that we've chose to run for office. And mayors in my city, we're only for 2 years. So we're constantly out in the public, meeting, being aware of what's going on. and bringing that back to city government. So we're approachable. And remember, the first Alameda County Mayor's Conference Council meeting I attended, Mayor Libby Schaff from Oakland texted me right away and said, here's my personal cell phone. What's yours? I mean, there is this blending and work together attitude that especially these 5 cities in the Tri-Valley have. It is perhaps rare, but it's highly valued, and it should never be minimized, because the fact that we do try hard to work together, and some of the 5 of us are better communicators even than others. I'll say Bob Warner is a great communicator, is what I'll offer. And, really, really bring us in so that we make joint decisions for the Tri-Valley. We share some challenges, as you've heard today. We share some wonderful, fortunate parts of our community as well. So we're really fortunate to have all 5 cities to work together.
So Kathy, I just wanted to add something very quickly. At least, we do all work together really well. And sometimes, we do work in our county. And one thing that I do want to bring forward to the folks that are on this, on the Zoom call this morning, is that Dublin, Livermore, and Pleasanton came together when we knew there was a need with regards to mental health. And I know that's one of my top priorities. And so for us to be able to come together, knowing before COVID that there was a need arising in all of our communities, and that was creating the Access Bridge Mental Health Urgent Care Center, which I am extremely proud of, because I think that we need to let people know that it's out there, and that it's, it started back in June of last year. But that's just right there shows you something that we as cities have come together to be able to accomplish something that there was a need for out there. So I didn't want that for us to forget about it and not say it. So I just wanted to make sure that I brought that up this morning.
That's a great example of how we do recognize a need and then reach out to each other to see how we can jointly deal with it. And we've done it for getting funding and across a lot of areas, but that's a recent shining example of the cooperation and shared goals.
So I have a
think we'd
question.
also-
Go ahead, Mayor Arnrich.
I was just going to say that, just an example of that at the Tri-Valley Council meeting at our last one that was mentioned earlier, we did at that saw a need with John Muir's Hospital's request to have a trauma unit at a higher level, that we did pass a resolution and a support letter from all 5 cities to that effect. And that's the other forum. It's really for the nonprofits. We're always looking for people to make presentations. And we've had the new Valley Foundation, or the subsequent to the Valley Foundation, come to us and make a similar presentation. So there are actual public forums of which help both the requester and all of those electeds and staff and everybody else in the community to be able to have a platform to be able to share and discuss those things. So it's not necessarily have to be a one-on-one.
A question with regard to, we have these 5 cities in the Tri-Valley, but we span 2 counties. And one of the struggles that nonprofits have is that, but also because there's not as much perceived need in this area. And so we have our own special challenges out here in the Tri-Valley spanning the 2 counties and without the perceived need. Can you tell me how you might have been able to, are you able to work across counties pretty easily? Does that cause problems for you? Do you have any advice for nonprofits out here who struggle with the perceived less need than other places?
I can share my personal experience. Sorry. I can share my personal experience with one of the nonprofit organizations that we created in San Ramon when we wanted to forget about the county line, but even within the cities, they encourage that the nonprofit organization, in order to provide their community services, they request that the nonprofit organization need to be registered within their city. So we ended up creating multiple organizations, even though they are all under one single umbrella, but then we ended up creating multiple organizations so that we can work together. That's one challenge that we faced, and unfortunately we had to create multiple organizations and go through all the paperwork. I think we should definitely explore the options, how we can make it more easy for our nonprofit organizations. Even though they are in one of the Tri-Valley city, they should be able to serve all other cities without registering. So
there, from my seat, there isn't an issue crossing any line unless you have public money within that foundation. So any foundation can serve based on whatever they put in their mission statement. So there's no legal barrier to moving. But if you do accept public funds, and there are, particularly from counties, because counties are their part of their mission is to provide social services and things like that, that you do have restrictions with that. And if a city, like recently Danville did support local organizations, so inherently within that, it does come within some slight restrictions. But as we say in government, it's the color of the money and the restrictions that determine whether you can provide services outside the boundary. But from a governmental point of view, as I mentioned earlier, there is real barriers from one government moving an asset from one community to the other. And we always have to be careful of avoiding what's called a gift of public funds. And there has to be a clear nexus. You can't just give money to another public entity. But in terms of, having a, Tri-Valley entity, there's no legal barriers to do that. And in fact, I think it's a great idea. It really hasn't been done to that level. Most of our foundations have a tendency to have cores in each of their respective communities. And, if we want to really be impactful and work on things that affect all the communities, then we need to raise the level of that presence, the base, the funding. The boards need to reflect the Tri-Valley versus just the location they're in. And I think there's great opportunity.
Mayor Brown?
Yeah, thank you, Kathy. I just found out early this morning, and this is a little bit of a follow-on mental health that Mayor Hernandez mentioned earlier. So the 5 cities jointly lobbied our U.S. Senator Alex Padilla, our Congressman Desaulniers and Swalwell, and so many others. And I just found out that Access Bridge Pilot Program now has an earmark in the federal for funding for $450,000. And that is key. And this is because all 5 cities lobbied for Access Community Health Bridge funding here in the Tri-Valley. So physically, it's located in the city of Pleasanton. It has dental offices and other locations, but 5 cities work together on the federal level. And that is a bigger voice. The fact that we're in 2 counties and that together our population is a significant city within the city of Pleasanton, within the city of, is if we were a large city in the state of California, we have a bigger voice. So it crossed both barriers, and 450,000 will be a game changer for Access, providing that emotional support and help, along with so many other things that Access does. So we may not have a number of homeless that there exists in Oakland, but we have health challenges and we do have problems. And those 5 cities working together to lobby our federal officials, it is successful. It's helped successful for transportation, but in this case, with regards to funding and support of our residents, we just had a call yesterday with my school district, and there was a young woman that was in crisis need. We have an alternate response team, in other words, an officer that comes out and a polo shirt, and she actually has a master's in psychology. So not to get off topic, but she connected this young student in crisis with Access Community Health. And it was life-changing for the family and of course for that young woman that was in crisis. So we're really helping people. We may have different challenges, but we have real life-threatening challenges. And I'm so proud that we can work together for 5 cities to address these problems and get that federal funding that we need so much.
Great example.
Thank you.
And Kathy, just to add, and I know we need to move forward, but we initially had asked to make sure that, we had initially asked Alameda County to provide some funding for us. So when we started kicking this off, instead of the funding coming from all the cities, which we were more than willing to do, by the way, Alameda County did initially put in a chunk of change, and then the rest of the 5 or the rest of the 3 cities did put the remainder balance. And so I know that we look forward to working with Alameda County to keep making sure that we get, our funding over here in the 3 cities.
Thank you.
Another topic, the Carla might be able to say in more details, but trying to work across counties, when people call up the wheels to try and get help getting to medical services and things, the question was, can we get them across the county? And so, Carla, you want to talk a little bit more about what it took to make that happen?
Sure. We did something we'd never done before, which is working with Contra Costa Transportation, 3CTA, and LAVTA, our Wheels bus, which has a door-to-door service. And so the first time, as far as I know, in the state of California, we can now take somebody from Livermore, take them up to Walnut Creek on what they call a 1-seat ride without a transfer at the county line, go all the way up and all the way back. It also has made such a difference for people who are not, that have limited physical abilities, because this is not a fixed route big bus. This is door-to-door service. It's almost always to medical help and support. And this is too life-changing for people who are unable to drive but need to get to doctor's appointments just across the county border. Think Dublin to San Ramon, and you couldn't do it unless you used some sort of outside private business. So here we have government-supported transit, county to county. It's a first of its kind, and we're very proud to be a part of that.
That's great. I know how important that is. Marty, are there any questions in chat?
Yes, so we have a question for all 5 mayors. What are your top priorities for the next 1 to 2 years? And what keeps you up at night? And how can the nonprofits in the community support the priorities and help solve the challenges that are at the top of your mind?
That's a big question.
Yes, lots of questions, 3 of them.
One of you want to start with that?
Sorry, go ahead.
No, I was just gonna let Neil start since he can't see us, but I'm not sure if he's still on the line or not.
He is.
Okay.
I'm still here. Yeah, if I'll go, certainly. What keeps me up at night, as Carla was talking about, and we're all equally proud of getting an earmark for mental health. Mental health has been a great concern. And I think Kathy Shiverton, who's the executive director of Discovery Counseling Center, is probably on this call, although I can't see anybody. It's something in our community that we have seen as a need for that organization has been around 50 years. And it really focuses on our children. When I mean children, school-age children. And being able to reach them with the cultural diversity that's occurred in all 5 of our communities, dramatic changes over the past 22 years, and getting the community to be able to respond and being conscientious of those cultural differences and those barriers to what mental health is. And if you think about it, all those events like Sandy Hook and Columbine, they only happen in communities like ours. They don't happen in the Oaklands and Richmonds. They happen in communities of greater education levels, in greater economic benefit levels. And the reason why is that our children are just resilient. And that's both good and bad. But the reality is we started a program to try to address that, where we all know first aid, where you can help somebody, make a phone call, get help, stop bleeding, put pressure on things. But when it came to mental health and you see somebody in a crisis, most people kind of put your head down and look the other way and walked around that person. So in partnership with Discovery Counseling Center and some others in our fire department, was to do mental health first aid. Originally, it was a 2-day class, and it became a 1-day class, to get all of our teachers, all of our first responders, all of our people in recreation departments trained, not that they would solve the problem, but they would know how to go to that person in crisis, to deal with them and get them pointed in the right direction. And that takes a constant effort, and that has to be institutionalized to keep that going, and not just a one-off type event. You feel good about it, and society moves on, but we forget about the past. So that's one thing. Mental health, I think all 5 communities, and COVID has exacerbated those conditions. But going forward, the world has changed. Our living patterns, I'm an architect and planner. I do residential, I do research facilities, higher education. And I've seen that all of those worlds have changed, and to some degree, to the better. We can now live, work easier, and we're going to have a different lifestyle in our homes and our apartments, in our residential community. For example, in Danville, we don't have large office space, and a 3,000, 4,000 square foot space is very large in Danville. Now it's a 200 or 300 square foot office space, and those are in high demand, because we find people are living and working in their homes, and they're looking for just a little more space, but they want that private space. That's a big change. Our downtowns are different. We're all moving a little more towards leisure services because of the Amazon effect and all the online shopping, and that's not going to go away. That is the world that we live in. And so we're going to have to, as we are here, we revisit our downtown master plan every so many years. We're going through an update. What does that new vision look like? And economic development goes hand in hand with that. People live in our communities because they like the place. It's the safety. We have to all invest in new technologies. So those are a few highlights, but I would say, I bet our common denominator of all 5 cities still is mental health, particularly with our children.
Thank you.
I
We don't
totally-
have to go, well, I say we don't have to go through all 5 mayors for each of these questions, but if you'd like to, please jump in.
I'll say we're one of the big focus for us is getting what we call our Vineyard 2.0 project done. And that's a 24 units of permanent supportive housing for people experiencing homelessness, and it provides critical operating space for homeless services and food security providers. And it's a collaboration between the cities of Livermore, Dublin, Pleasanton, Alameda County, Housing Consortium of the East Bay, Open Heart Kitchen, CityServe, Asbury United Methodist Church, and other nonprofits are going to be participating. And we're still finalizing our list of partners. But I think that's a good example of bringing it back to the, we're talking about the nonprofits and the cooperation with the cities to, put something together that's going to be serving a critical need, which we're all trying to address with respect to the homelessness and helping the disadvantaged. And so that's really, I would say, the top problem that would keep us, up at night is how do we really help all those people in need in the Tri-Valley? And I think we have to acknowledge they're here, and we need to help them. And a lot of what the nonprofits in this organization do is to provide that help. So I think that's the real focus going forward. And then more generally, as we have to address the housing crisis, and how do we get the right mix as we grow our cities. So that's the key that I would mention here.
I would like to concur with both mayors here on the top priorities, especially as Mayor Arner mentioned about mental health wellness. That's one of the top, along with housing. So as of housing for San Ramon, we are not yet hit as bad as other Bay Area cities, but it's just a matter of time, I think. So I'm very glad to let you know that recently we passed an application for 100% senior housing development. So I think especially housing as well as the mental health, they are not only subject to a specific city, but as whole Tri-Valley, it is impacting, and it is continue to become a major issue for all of our cities. So we need to continue to work in collaboration so that we can address these issues before they become major crisis. So I see pretty much all Tri-Valley cities, their agendas, and every time I review, these are the top priorities during the mayor discussions, and we need to continue to work on it, and any nonprofit help would be a great help for us.
I'll just add that it depends on who you talk to that day, right? I know as mayors, we have feedback from so many incredible nonprofits. I see Ronnie Forbes on. Hi, Ronnie, from One Nation Dream Makers. As Melissa mentioned, he's taking food from point A to point B, that last mile. And sometimes he just needs gas in the truck, right? So we do everything we can to provide that, and hopefully through grants as well. Through the formation, I saw Susan Houghton and John Sensabon for the formation of a new method of funding nonprofits through the Three Valleys Formation Foundation. You're going to help, hopefully, they're going to be extremely successful, and I'm going to do what I can to help them to provide more funding to come in. My mother, my sister, and my daughter have all been affected by breast cancer. So obviously that's very personal for me. I'm a huge supporter of breast cancer and breast cancer support foundations. I started with open space and hillside and ridgeline protection. So Tri-Valley Conservancy is near and dear to my heart. You can see how so many ways we're touched, because we're human beings and we're people. We're touched by the needs of our community to provide food and health services, mental health, and homes. This is what makes this job rewarding, but it also makes it difficult because there's almost never enough food and houses to go around. So making sure they go to the neediest and the residents that that we can help the most is a part of this job too. So we lead. I'll say I lead, and I know my other mayors do, from our heart. We're here to help. That's why we take this job on. And that's why we continue to have those nights without a lot of sleep, to your point, because there just isn't enough resources to go around. But through volunteers and these wonderful nonprofits that are here today, we hope to provide better services next week, next month, and next year for those things.
Well said.
And Kathy, just to go back to the question of what the priority, I can just give you one. I know, again, we're running out of time. So one of my priorities that I have, one of them obviously was mental health, but also just making sure that we follow through with that. So in September, our council actually voted and approved to be able to use some of our funding and give that towards our Dublin Police Behavioral Health Unit. And this unit would then be able to staff licensed therapists dedicated to working with children, adults, families, and couples with immediate mental health related issues. On regular basis, our officers would encounter individuals and families going through crisis. So not only would they go, at that time during the crisis, our therapists would go along with them, but then also do the follow-up. Because I think that's what's key, is that a lot of what's happening is there's no follow-up, right? There's no accountability. There's no whatever happened. And so to make sure that we could do the follow-up, and then this could be, done through resolving conflicts transition from being in jail and then being released into the community, addiction and substance abuse, academic and behavioral problems, bullying, gang involvement, anxiety and depression, and financial troubles as well. I think we always forget to talk about what some of the issues are deep down into the weeds is, families having financial issues that could bring up some problems throughout their household. So that is dear to my heart, is to be able to help the people in need in the community, but then also do the follow-up and making sure that we have the resources to provide that. What keeps me up late at night is trying to get a better understanding and how we can, as not even as just as one city, but as a Tri-Valley, as in Alameda County, is how can we help the people that want the help and that need the help, to give them a place to live, a household, and to be able to conquer some of the homelessness that we have here in Alameda County, because our numbers are increasing. They're not decreasing, they are increasing. And so that's what keeps me up late at night.
All
Thank
Tri-Valley.
you. I was going to say, Mayor Hernandez, let's talk after this, because I have an idea of a nonprofit that might be able to work with you on some of that. Is there anybody out there we can go to live questions? If Marty, were there any more questions in chat?
There's no more questions. I don't see any more in chat, but I actually have a question, especially to Mayor Hernandez. I'm so happy that everyone here is talking about mental health. I think we've been a mental health desert out here, so I'm so happy to see that that's a big focus for all the mayors. What kind of resources are the cities providing to nonprofit organizations who need training or assistance in dealing with clients with mental health?
That's actually a really good question, Marty. And nice to see you again. I know it's been a couple of years. I think, honestly, I know for us in the city of Dublin is we just started doing our pilot program through Access Bridge, and we got that started. We actually have a meeting with them tomorrow. I know the mayors are going to be meeting with Sue Compton just to get the numbers, to look at the statistics. So what we will be doing is we'll look at the pilot program for a year. And then we'll have more of a concrete of what we will be doing as all cities, working with the nonprofit. I know that, but that's just such great information to get from the nonprofits to be able to possibly have some classes for the nonprofit organizations. I know that CityServe does that already. And I know CityServe has done some programs that I've actually gone to visit at Valley Christian Church. But to be able to make sure that you guys are included should be on, I'm actually writing that down right now, but it's really important to be able to give you guys the awareness and also to be able to give you guys the tools as well, so that you can make your nonprofits, organizations even better, and to have accessibility for that. But I really, truly feel that it's once we get that concrete statistics and numbers and information, and we can actually use that to be able to see what our next layout will be.
I would just add on that, to be honest, what's challenging when you look at how government is, there's state government, counties, and cities. County government receives billions of dollars on an annual basis through both directly from the state through various tax revenues and various programs. Their charter is to provide social services. So that's mental health. They must have a county hospital, all of those. Generally speaking, except for very large cities, and we all look to San Francisco, but that's unique. It's a city county. There's no city council, but there's a mayor. It's a different form of government than all of us participate in. So theirs is mixed. So they can do housing, they can do mental health services, they can do medical services. So the challenge for local is that we have to form partnerships to help foster those. It's not necessarily always putting money in. And just recently, like some other cities, through some of the ARPA funds that cities received, we saw that mental health in certain specific areas was important. So we did some one-time funding of $100,000 per agency, and we gave out nearly dollars. But we also, like others, we're looking particularly with our police and working with our first responders. How do we identify a mental health crisis versus just a call for service for there's somebody, they have a weapon, they're doing something bad, and they may harm somebody or themselves. So under the leadership of our San Ramon Valley Fire Department, which is an agency that covers both Danville, Black Hawk, Diablo, and San Ramon, because of the level of training they have on all their vehicles, they provide all the medical services, they provide all the ambulance services, is pivoting and retraining all of our first responders, both in police and fire, to address this so that the call at the call center, that they're trained enough to be able to ask the right questions in a few nanoseconds to be able to quickly identify is this a mental health case and how to get the right response there. So the program has been actually started for some time in Hayward, and it's been very successful. So we can partner with that. We need then to have other nonprofits like Discovery and other folks to be able to act as a referral basis, which we've done on a more limited basis in the past. But it takes all of us, because every one of those agencies that provide mental health does a small piece of the mental health cycle. If it's something that takes 10 different agencies, we need to have all 10 of those in one spot to be able to reach and work together. But direct funding is a challenge for most cities. It really is. It's just, and again, there just isn't the revenue source. And maybe it's a conversation to start to have with counties, because most of our communities don't get our fair share from the counties, because they don't see us as, because they see our standard of living higher than other areas of the county. So in Contra Costa, they go to 3 other cities. They don't go to any of us. So that's a challenge as well.
I just wanted to add, sorry, Marty, add Marty, is that, I think also the private and government agencies working together. So I know I've reached out to Stanford Health, and I know that they are excited about trying to contribute and seeing how they can also help. But I think that that's something that we tend to always forget is, it's okay to be able to work with government agencies and also private agencies as well.
Anyone else?
I just wanted to share about our San Ramon Police Department and our San Ramon Valley Fire District collaboration work on mental health, like whatever Mayor Arnerich mentioned, right? So in add on to that, they formed a frontline integrated safety training where the San Ramon Police as well as the Fire District in collaboration, they brought this training, on-demand training for 5 hours. Let me check. This was just presented recently in our council meeting. So let me see what else. They're doing like 12 hours of focus training, because whenever the police department is receiving a call for any mental health issues, concerns, it's not a smart idea that our police department land there with their arms and ammunition, right? So to avoid that problem, we are now through the county working together with San Ramon Police Department and Fire District to implement these new strategies known as Frontline Integrated Safety Training Program for our police department as well as our fire district.
Great, thank you. We just have a few minutes left. I'm going to just ask each of the 5 mayors if they would just like to give a 1-minute closing statement. Go ahead, we'll start with Mayor Brown.
Okay, so for the benefit of being in the beginning of the alphabet, I guess. Yes, this has been an honor to be here. Thank you, Kathy, for inviting me. The partnership that we've talked about for the past almost 2 hours. If you leave this meeting, you should understand that you have 5 people here that strongly care about our community, We want to be here, we want to help, and we want to be partners. We are also busy teaching the youngest of the young how to step up and get involved. Whether you're doing volunteering at a library or you're seeing how you can help deliver food to the hungry. Or we've also seen lots of folks volunteer to coordinate COVID vaccinations and COVID testing. I am so proud of the entire Tri-Valley, how residents have seen a need and they've stepped up. I've seen very wealthy people in some of our most exclusive communities start their own nonprofit to help feed the hungry, and creative ways of doing it too. But I've also seen people who don't have a lot of money say, I want to help others who really need help. So it warms my heart to watch residents step forward and say, I don't have a lot, but I want to help. So I'm seeing that from our council. I know as a mayor, geez, this job is busy. Morning until night. We had a meeting last night, and of course we have another one early this morning. We're having one meeting, a city council meeting a week, plus so many of these other meetings that we go to. But in our heart of hearts, we absolutely are doing this because we want to help. We appreciate the partnership with the Tri-Valley Nonprofit Alliance, and we're going to continue to be available for people who want to work with us. That's why we're here. That's what we do. And that's why we go to the very difficult task of running for office, so that we can absolutely care for residents. Thanks.
Thank you. I love Mr. Rogers' statement. Look for the helpers when things are crazy. And I'm grateful that you're all right here in front of my face. So how about Mayor Arnrich?
Oh, thank you. I thought Carla said it beautifully. That one, I think this forum is a really good idea. Just like we as the mayors get together as a group to talk about periodically, we do it quarterly, what's going on, what's happening, what can we all work together on? I think the forum, here as Tri-Valley Nonprofit Alliance, is sometimes we need a call to action. If we in our communities are seeing something happening, it might be happening in all of our communities, and it might be this is a nice forum, and we can also, put all the resources towards one effort and really make a difference. Sometimes we try to do so many things that we water down the impact to the community and to the good that can be caused by the efforts. And I think, having a meeting like this, it's also just an opportunity to meet. There are so many wonderful nonprofits in the Tri-Valley, and I suspect none of us know who they all are. But I think, and conversely, I don't think they know other nonprofits that might be doing similar things, and maybe there's ways they either get together, can combine, or find out how they can support one common goal. And I think that this forum, just to bring all of us together and to bring those nonprofits so that they're allowed to speak, talk to each other, I think this is a wonderful opportunity, and I hope we do it again. And thanks for the invitation. And maybe next time I won't get kicked out. So I'm looking forward to it.
We'll see. No, thank you. And again, my apologies. Okay, Mayor Hernandez.
Sorry, Neil. I'll give you the recap later. No, I just want to say thank you. I know this is the second year we've done it. To me, I've always been a true giver, just because this is a subject that's really close to my heart. I've been in nonprofit since I was a young child. It's something that I've learned growing up, because I was actually at one point in my life when I was younger, I was a kid that went to Toys for Tots and got my some of my Christmas gifts through Toys for Tots. So I know how important all the nonprofits are. But like I said earlier, it's for us to be able to bring awareness and to show everyone how great you are and to work together, because without the nonprofits not being able to fulfill their mission, then it makes it a lot more difficult. And so I know that here, being in the Tri-Valley, we do have a lot of individuals that sometimes don't know where to give their money to. And so I know that, our Dublin was our first ones to support the Three Valleys. And I really hope that they are successful in the future. And it's helped us already because our police officer that passed away here in Dublin about a month ago, we were able to do a foundation through the Three Valleys. And so they've been really helpful already. But honestly, it's just really to bring awareness of what great nonprofits that we have here in the Tri-Valley and to be able to keep them funded. But thank you again for having us. And we wouldn't be able to do it without all of you.
Thank you. So we have 2 minutes left, or actually we have 2 mayors left and it's noon. So can you do like a 30-second Vice Mayor Burrows?
Well, I would definitely like to thank Tri-Valley Nonprofit Alliance for all your great work. And we are really well blessed to have such a great nonprofit organizations across the Tri-Valley. Thank you very much for all your help and support to improve the quality of our lives in our community residents, everyone. I'm definitely going to look forward for more of these events so that we can share and work in collaboration. Thank you.
Thank you. And Mayor Warner.
Yeah, I'd say thank you for putting this program together. It's great to just see everybody involved in across the breadth of everything that's going on. I also think future forums would be good. I might suggest that we could have them on a focused topic, and that we could have more of an interaction from the nonprofits themselves. And that might be easier if we focus in on the education, human services, etc. So thank you.
Thank you. And we can definitely set that up. That's great suggestions. I will let you know we have as a rule, and we're trying to move back to it. We usually have monthly meetings that are free and held in person. They were at the Bankhead Theater up until COVID hit. We've been on Zoom since, but our hope is to be back live in person in April. So, and again, they're free and they're open to anyone who's interested in the nonprofit community. Our speaker next month is Lisa Solomon, and she is an outstanding fundraiser. So we hope that you can join us then. Again, I want to thank all of the mayors for attending today and showing your support. Also want to apologize again for Danville Mayor. Truly sorry for that little glitch. We had a couple of them. Carolyn Siegfried, she got bumped out as well. I'm not sure if she ever made it back on, but thank you everybody for rolling with that today. And have a wonderful day.